What's wrong, D16? Rise up!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Sentinel Prime. Based on the Transformers 1 animated movie, this take on the character saw him as the corrupt leader of Cybertron and the last survivor of the original 13 Primes. And as we whack up an image of how he did appear in the movie, much like the mainline deluxe that came before, an incredibly faithful recreation of his design, despite the characters of the film taking some inspiration from their look in the original G1 cartoon. This figure is still incredibly detailed, and it's no coincidence that he looks a lot like Homelander.
Because down here, the truth is what I make it.
I will definitely say though to watch out for the shoulders. Unfortunately, when using the biceps, these do have a tendency to pop out of place, which can become a little annoying. The legs though are solid and are completely detailed. Seeing as Sentinel is a slightly smaller Voyager in comparison to what we're used to, they have packed him out. Near enough all of the joints are completely filled in and the plastic used is dense. Even as we spin him around to the back, the figure mostly looks how he did appear on screen, with the exception of his wings. Unfortunately, these are a slightly different design from how they did appear in the film, and instead look more like D16's taken the spoiler of Rodimus and has split it into two pieces. But to be completely honest guys, in person I can't really say this bugs me that much at all, especially after seeing how they near seamlessly engineered both a jet and combat mode into this guy. So to begin with, take the wings and angle these upwards. With that completed, we can now take the forearm armor and slide this over the top of the fist. We can now take the chest plate and pop this open, allowing us full access to Sentinel Prime's battle mask. With that fully deployed, this panel will then snap back into place, allowing us to angle the chest upwards. We can then pop open the shoulders to expose some additional weaponry. Once fully deployed, these panels can then snap back into place. You can then take the armor on the side of the legs and hinge this upwards to again reveal some additional weaponry. Once fully deployed, also on the second side, take this panel and snap this back into place. We can then take the heel spurs and click these forwards, also allowing for the boosters to be fully deployed. For the next step, take the front part of the foot and snap this downwards, and then finally take the booster and click this inwards. Here is Sentinel Prime now fully transformed into his battle mode, and again looking to be really close to how he did appear right towards the end of the movie. From a design standpoint, I think it's incredibly impressive how all of this additional weaponry is fully integrated into his design, and I've got to say guys that this really is the most fun that I've had with a Generations figure in an incredibly long time. It's not too often that we do tend to see gimmicks like this anymore, but I am certainly glad that they did decide to include it. But as for the real question, can this Sentinel Prime be ripped into two pieces? The honest answer to that is no, unless you do decide to pop out these 3 screws on the back, which then gives you the ability to quite simply sever him at the waist. Although, to be completely honest guys, I wouldn't recommend to do this all that much, as you really don't want to run the risk of potentially stripping the plastic, but it is definitely possible.
Oh, D16, what a tragic story you'll be.
In terms of accessories, Sentinel includes not 1, but 2 blasters, and then finally a shield, which are all mostly the weapons that he is seen using in the film, with the exception of his double-sided blade, which I've got to say I am a little disappointed not to see included, especially as this was his main form of weaponry in the movie. But the weapons he does include are still pretty decent, and in addition to being able to be combined, can also be used to further weaponize him up when in battle mode. Turning to posability to see whether or not this Prime has the touch. To begin with, the head is packing a hinge joint which allows him to look both up and down and of course turn left to right. The shoulders are ball jointed so can kick both forwards and backwards. These can also kick there out to the side, the bicep can spin and the elbow can bend there to 90. Although due to the way this guy transforms, unfortunately there are no wrist joints, but despite not being used for the transformation, the waist can be spun all the way around and the hips can kick both forwards and backwards, allowing him to complete the full splits. He is also packing a pretty deadly high kick, the thigh can rotate, the knee can bend there to 90, and due to transformation, the toe can pivot downwards and can also rock inwards. But to really see the true power of this Prime, let's now put him through the pose test. Firing through some robot mode size comparisons, after what's revealed in the movie, I thought that it would be only right to compare him against the Leader class Megatronus the Fallen, Voyager class Primer Prime, the Cybertron Universe Vector Prime, Deluxe class Solus Prime, Transformers 1 Optimus Prime, and Megatron, the mainline Deluxe class Sentinel Prime, which for the price point was actually a really well done figure, but without doubt, it has now easily been dethroned by the brand new Studio Series version. Then finally, let's now fire through YOLO Park's minors, starting off with Orion Pax, D16, B127, then last but by no means least, Elita 1.
That's why, after I killed him, I took his cog for myself.
So, for the first step, take the tip of the wing, detach it, and proceed to fold this down until it does snap into place. And again guys, be sure to do the same with the second side. With that complete, we can now take the head and spin this all the way around to the back, so that we can then take the nose cone and fully extend this upwards, until this too does snap into place. You'll then take the forearms and proceed to slide these again over the top of the fists. We can now proceed to combine the legs directly down the middle, which will then allow us to take the backpack, hinge this upwards, and then slide it down. You'll then want to push firmly on the backpack until this does snap into place, which will then give you the ability to slide the legs backwards until these do combine along with the top half. On the underside of each wing is a tiny tab that is now going to slide into that slot, making it so that we can also deploy these additional fins. This panel will then click forwards, allowing us to then fully deploy the boosters. You'll then take the tips of the feet and click these here upwards, so that the boosters can then snap backwards. With that completed, we can now make use out of the shoulders in order to fully detach the chest plate. This entire section will then swing down and will attach into the thigh. The back of the arm will then snap into the underside of the wing, and again, be sure to do the same for the second side, and that is the transformation now fully complete.
It's over, Sentinel. You can't escape the truth.
Here is Sentinel Prime now fully transformed into his jet mode, which is a look that I don't believe we ever actually see in the film, although if you were to compare this against the design of his mainline counterpart, they are definitely similar, which makes me think that at some point they had planned for him to transform in the movie. The details throughout are sharp, and there is even storage for both the blasters and the shield. The side profile too is also incredibly clean with visually very little kibble, although as you flip him to the underside, that illusion is very quickly lost, and I will say that this is the one big area where I do think the mainline deluxe is slightly better in. I do quite like though how the arms can form additional boosters to pair alongside the first set, which are blast effect compatible, giving Sentinel Prime the ability to boost his way into battle. Flying through some jet mode size comparisons, again on the right hand side is the Leader class Megatronus the Fallen, Voyager class Primer Prime, Cybertron Vector Prime, Deluxe class Solus Prime, Transformers 1 Optimus Prime, Megatron, then finally the mainline Sentinel Prime. So, wrapping up on this review for the Transformers Studio Series Voyager class Sentinel Prime. To be completely honest, I think that this might just be the best figure released so far for the Transformers 1 movie. His robot mode is an incredibly faithful recreation of how he did appear on screen, with the exception of the slightly different wing design, and the integration of that battle mode is really what I think sets him apart from some of the other entries in the line. The only other thing that I would have liked to have seen included would be an intentional gimmick allowing you to split him into two pieces, much like we have seen from the Masterpiece line, but honestly that is such a minor issue to the point where I'm not even sure it's worth mentioning. I would love to know what you guys think of Sentinel Prime, and as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Transform and roll out!